The story begins with an extremely terrifying scene. A dangerous zombie virus has spread throughout the entire country. The condition of the cities has become so bad that surviving there had become almost impossible. In such circumstances, Francis takes his wife Eris and his two sons Joshua and Lucas and leaves the city. Avoiding many dangers, he reaches his old farmhouse, where he hopes his family will now be safe. The entire farmhouse is badly abandoned. Francis calls out to his parents, but no answer comes. Panicking, he reaches his father's room and seeing the sight there leaves him stunned. His father's corpse is lying on the bed with a gun in his hand. Francis immediately understands that his father had gotten infected with the virus and took his own life before turning into a zombie. With a heavy heart, he picks up the gun and starts to leave the room. Just then, he hears the sound of someone speaking from another part of the house. When he reaches there, his soul trembles. His mother, in a terrible state, is banging her head against the wall and continuously muttering something. But the very next moment, she suddenly attacks Francis. Francis has no other option left. He immediately fires and kills his mother too. After burying his parents, Francis realizes that even this task is no longer safe. If he wants to keep his family alive, every step will have to be taken with great care. Meanwhile, his older son Joshua comes to him and suggests they should check the storeroom. Maybe some essential supplies could be found there that would be useful in the coming days. Both head toward the storeroom, but upon reaching there, they're stunned. Inside the room, the farmhouse's caretaker is hanging from a rope. Both stand silent for a while. Then Francis tells Joshua to take the bunch of keys from his waist. Joshua nervously moves forward, but as soon as he pulls hard to remove the keys, the corpse suddenly falls on top of him. Seeing this, he panics badly and runs outside. Outside, Eris becomes worried seeing her son's condition. When she asks Francis what happened, he answers very harshly that just a corpse fell on him. During this, we see that Francis treats his younger son Lucas very gently. He gives him sugarcane to eat, and seeing him happy, he himself starts smiling too. On the other hand, Joshua always has to face strictness and scolding. After a while, Eris takes Francis to the old basement built under the house. As soon as he steps into this room, Francis's face changes. Frightening childhood memories start returning to his mind. This was the very place where his father used to punish him. As night falls, the whole family sits at the dinner table. After a long time, they get a few moments of peace. During this, Joshua finds an old radio. He turns it on, wanting to know news of the outside world. But Francis doesn't like this at all. He immediately stops him and says to eat first and look at other things later. During the meal, Joshua mentions that his girlfriend Alice had messaged him. She's heading toward the northern hills with her family, where the government has set up a safe camp for people. Hearing this, Francis flatly refuses. According to him, such camps aren't safe. They're death traps instead. So he announces that their family will stay right here and go nowhere. At night, when the two of them are alone, Eris tries to explain to him that Joshua isn't a child anymore. Scolding him all the time and ordering him around isn't right. But Francis doesn't give much weight to her words. That same night, Francis has a terrifying dream. In the dream, he sees his father, but his appearance is extremely frightening. He wakes up from sleep in a panic and, out of fear, grips Eris tightly. Even after morning comes, the dream doesn't leave his mind. On the other side, Eris once again clearly says that she doesn't like this place at all, and they should leave from here as soon as possible. Finally, worn down by Eris's pressure and his own frightening dream, Francis agrees. He decides they will head toward the camp in the northern hills. After traveling for quite a while, the family reaches near a large bridge, but seeing the scene there, everyone stops. Several vehicles are abandoned on the road, and the path ahead has been blocked with heavy barricades. Seeing this, Francis senses something is wrong. He immediately decides they should go back to the farmhouse, but Eris isn't the type to give up so easily. She thinks that a portion of the barricade could be removed to make way. Without thinking much, she gets out of the vehicle and starts trying to clear the path herself. Then suddenly a zombie appears in front of her. Seeing it, the color drains from Eris's face, and she runs back to save her life. Seeing his wife in danger, Francis immediately grabs his gun and gets out. He takes proper aim and kills the zombie. But the sound of the gunshot echoes far and wide. The very next moment, several zombies hidden nearby start running toward them. Some zombies attack the van directly where both children are sitting. Now the whole family has come extremely close to death. Seeing the situation worsening, Francis makes a dangerous decision. He himself draws the zombies' attention toward himself so his family can survive. Dozens of zombies start chasing after him. But at the last moment, he frees himself and throws a grenade toward them. The very next second, a powerful explosion occurs, and a large number of zombies are finished off right there. The family's lives are saved, but their troubles don't end. When they try to start the vehicle again, the engine fails to respond. Now, they have no other option left. Forced by circumstances, they have to walk back to the same farmhouse. After returning to the farmhouse, Francis's behavior becomes even stricter. He tells Eris in clear words that from now on, only what he wants will happen in the house. Eris listens to him, but it's clearly visible on her face that she's not at all happy with this decision. The next morning, Francis goes alone toward that bridge where they'd left their van. Reaching there, he tries to start the vehicle, and surprisingly, the vehicle starts immediately. But then a strange thought comes into his mind. He feels that if he brings the vehicle home, Eris will insist on leaving from here again. Thinking this, he deliberately leaves the vehicle there and returns home, on foot. When Eris asks him about the vehicle, Francis lies that the van is completely broken. After this, he keeps himself busy with household chores. He fixes the electricity, tries to run things, and spends time with the children. During this same time, Joshua and Lucas start looking at old photo albums. In the pictures, they see their father Francis along with another man named Diego. Then Lucas jokingly says that Joshua looks exactly like Diego. Hearing this, Joshua suddenly goes quiet. Many questions start arising in his mind. Slowly, a painful suspicion starts being born in Joshua's mind. He starts feeling that perhaps Francis isn't his real father. This question takes root in his mind. The next morning, the atmosphere appears a little calmer. Francis apologizes to Eris about the previous matters. Eris, too, apologizes for some of her own mistakes. After the conversation ends, Francis gets to work on the farm as usual. He heads toward the chicken coop to collect eggs, but upon reaching there, he's confronted with a frightening sight. A rabid dog is tearing apart and eating the chickens. Francis tries to chase it away, but the dog suddenly attacks him and bites deeply into his wrist. Seeing the wound, Francis does panic, but upon returning home, he still tries to appear strong. Eris immediately cleans his wound and bandages it. Eris wants them to leave right away for a hospital or some safe place, but Francis once again refuses to listen to her. Meanwhile, Joshua goes a little distance from the house and tries to pick up a radio signal. After much effort, he hears a message. The message mentions a Delta camp, where people are still claiming to be safe. Hearing this, he gets excited and runs back home. But when he tells his father this news, Francis scolds him, thinking he's lying. The argument over this very matter flares up again at dinner. Joshua and Eris believe that some hope still remains out there somewhere, but Francis's faith has been completely shattered. According to him, no safe place remains left in this world anymore. The next morning, Joshua goes to his father. He no longer considers himself a child. He tells Francis that he too wants to take on responsibility for the family and wants to make his own decisions. But Francis doesn't take his words seriously. Then he asks Joshua, "Can you kill someone?" Joshua answers without hesitation that if it's necessary to save his family, he will definitely do it. Hearing his son's words, Francis takes him to an open field outside the house. There he sets up a target and hands Joshua the gun. Joshua tries his best but keeps missing the target again and again. Seeing this, Francis's anger starts rising. Scolding him, he says that a person who can't protect his own family has no right to talk big either. Frightened, Joshua takes a deep breath and then starts firing shots continuously. Just then, Eris and Lucas, who were inside the house, come outside hearing the gunshots. Eris, angry, is about to argue with Francis when suddenly their eyes fall on a zombie standing in front of them. At first, they think it's just a single, lone zombie. But within a few seconds, the truth comes to light. Dozens of zombies are seen advancing toward them from the fields in the distance. Seeing this, the color drains from everyone's faces. Without wasting a single moment, Francis shouts, "Run!" The whole family runs toward the house to save their lives. Somehow they get inside, close the doors, and block the path with heavy items. But when they go upstairs and look outside the window, they're stunned. The entire farmhouse has been surrounded by a horde of zombies. The zombies had now spread all around the house and were slowly trying to break through the doors and windows. Francis realizes that if this horde gets inside, no one's survival will be possible. Meanwhile, suddenly the loud sound of a car horn echoes from outside. Because of the continuously blaring horn, all the zombies turn toward that direction at once. Within a few seconds, the entire horde leaves the house and starts running toward the car. Then the vehicle turns and speeds away from there, with all the zombies chasing after it. As the danger passes, everyone inside the house breathes a sigh of relief. But on Francis's face, there's not relief but shock. He had recognized the car. He had realized that the stranger who saved their lives wasn't a stranger at all. It was his older brother, Diego. The next morning, Francis goes alone to the riverbank, where he meets Diego. As soon as the conversation begins, Diego tells him that he had come to see their parents. Hearing this, Francis, with a heavy heart, gives him the news of their deaths. For a few moments, Diego too falls silent. After this, Diego offers his help. He says that if needed, he can stay with them. But hearing this, Francis's anger flares up. Francis knew that there had once been a relationship between Eris and Diego, and the most painful truth was that Joshua wasn't his son, but Diego's. This was the very reason Francis had never been able to forgive his brother to this day. Filled with anger, Francis immediately tells his brother to leave from there. Diego doesn't argue. Before leaving, he takes out a map and gives it to Francis. He explains that there's a camp toward the northern hills, where some people are still safe. He also warns that large hordes of zombies from the city are slowly advancing toward this area. If a decision isn't made in time, staying here could prove dangerous. But Francis had become so blinded by his own stubbornness that he wasn't willing to listen to anything. In anger, he tries to burn the map. However, after thinking for a moment, he stops himself. Upon returning home, he shows Diego's jacket to Eris. As soon as she sees the jacket, Eris understands everything. Sadness becomes clearly visible on her face, and without saying anything, she goes into the room. On the other side, Francis now starts becoming more restless than before. He feels that a zombie attack could happen at any time. In this fear, he starts further strengthening the doors and windows of the house. Meanwhile, little Lucas, while playing, ends up in the basement. As soon as he peeks outside through a small window, a scream escapes him. Hearing his voice, Eris comes running. Outside, an old zombie is standing there, staring at them. Eris tries to calm her son and says that this zombie is weak. There's no need to be afraid of it. But Francis is quietly listening to all this. After a while, he goes outside and mercilessly kills that zombie. Returning home, he gathers the whole family and claims that very dangerous zombies are roaming around outside. He warns everyone that no one will try to step outside the house. But this time, Eris doesn't believe his words. That night, when Francis has gone to bathe, Joshua quietly sneaks into his room. He suspected that the map from Diego was still hidden somewhere. After a lot of searching, he does find the map. Seeing the map, hope awakens in his mind that perhaps a safe place still exists outside this deserted farmhouse. By evening, Francis's behavior starts becoming even stranger. He suddenly starts preparing to celebrate Christmas in the house. Seeing this, everyone is stunned. Eris reminds him that it's currently the month of September. Christmas is still far off. But Francis, smiling, says that for them, today itself is Christmas. Constant stress and fear had started deeply affecting his mental state. During dinner, Joshua tells his mother about the map. Eris immediately asks Francis where he kept the map. Hearing this question, Francis flares up. In anger, he starts accusing Eris of still wanting to leave the house because she wants to go to her old love, Diego. In his rage, Francis reveals an old secret in front of the children. He says that their mother once wanted to leave him and go with someone else. Eris, with a heavy heart, admits that there's some truth in what Francis is saying. Hearing this, the children's world seems to shake. The matter doesn't stop here. Francis takes out the map and throws it into the fire in front of everyone. Eris's patience runs out. In anger, she slaps him hard and walks away from there. Next day, Francis heads out to the fields as usual. By now, not much was left for them to eat, so he keeps himself busy gathering sugarcane and other essential things. Meanwhile, inside the house, Eris sits with both her sons and talks to them. When Francis returns in the evening, he's carrying a large wooden board with him. As soon as he arrives, he fixes it in front of the main door so no one can easily go outside. Then he gathers the whole family and says he's seen extremely dangerous zombies nearby, so from now on, no one will step outside the house. But this time, Joshua doesn't stay quiet. He tells his father directly that there isn't as much danger outside as he's showing. Francis slaps Joshua in front of everyone and in anger says things that could break a son to his core. The atmosphere hasn't even settled when suddenly there's loud knocking at the door. An injured soldier is standing outside. Francis wants to chase him away without thinking. But Joshua ignores his words and opens the door, bringing the soldier inside. The soldier's condition is extremely bad. He has deep wounds on his body. When Eris asks him what happened, he explains that he was stationed at the Delta camp. His team, which had gone out looking for food, was attacked by zombies. All his companions were killed. But one man risked his own life to save him. Before dying, that very man had given him the address of this farmhouse. Hearing this, everyone realizes that man was none other than Diego. Panicking, Eris asks the soldier if he's still alive. But the soldier, in a disappointed voice, tells her that when he left from there, Diego had already been surrounded by zombies on all sides. His chances of survival were very slim. Hearing this, Eris's face falls, while Francis stands silently. Seeing the soldier's condition, Eris treats him and pleads with Francis to let him stay there for at least one night. After much thought, Francis agrees, but on one condition. He keeps the soldier not inside the house, but in the basement. As the night deepens, Joshua comes to his mother. Comforting her, he says there's no need to worry too much. Then he reveals a secret that had been on his mind for quite some time. He says he's now found out that Francis isn't his real father, and perhaps that's the reason he always treated him differently. But despite this, he still considers Francis his father. Joshua further says that he wants to go outside tonight to assess the situation. If the path outside turns out to be safe, they can leave from here at the right time. Eris thinks for a few moments and finally gives him permission to go. In the darkness of night, Joshua quietly leaves the house, while the others remain asleep. The next morning, during breakfast, Francis's eyes don't fall on Joshua. He immediately asks Eris where her son is. Eris gives no answer. As soon as Francis finds out that Joshua has left the house, his anger becomes completely uncontrollable. In rage, he goes straight to the basement, where the injured soldier is staying. Before the soldier can understand anything, Francis attacks him and strikes him on the head with a heavy hammer. Within moments, the soldier dies. Seeing this horrifying sight, Eris and Lucas tremble. But Francis's anger still hasn't calmed. He starts accusing Eris of helping Joshua escape. Then he shoves her hard. Eris falls and loses consciousness. When her eyes open, she finds herself and Lucas tied up in the basement. Meanwhile, Francis's mental state was rapidly deteriorating. After a while, he goes outside and sees the same rabid dog that had bitten him some time earlier. This time, he completely loses control and mercilessly kills the animal. But the most terrifying thing happens after this. He cooks the dog's meat and tries to force Eris and Lucas to eat it. Eris immediately suspects something is wrong with the food. She refuses to eat. Seeing this, Francis flares up again and throws the plate. Along with the plate, a knife also falls to the floor. Francis's attention doesn't go there, but Eris cleverly hides that knife under her foot. After a while, Eris pretends affection and sympathy to try to calm Francis down. She says that he's the most important person in her life, but just then, Francis's eyes fall on the hidden knife. His suspicion awakens again. He immediately snatches the knife away and locks Eris in the basement again. Locked in the basement, Eris had understood that if she didn't do something soon, neither she nor Lucas would survive. After a while, she tries to escape, but in the darkness and panic, she loses her balance. She falls hard and loses consciousness. When she wakes up, Lucas asks her what to do now. Then Eris devises a plan and tells her son to do exactly as she's explaining. Lucas suddenly starts screaming loudly, as if something terrible has happened to him. Hearing his screams, Francis panics and runs toward the basement. As soon as he gets inside, Eris seizes the opportunity and attacks him. After quite a struggle, she manages to knock Francis unconscious. Then she and Lucas together lock him in the very basement where they themselves had been imprisoned a little while ago. Locked in the basement, Francis starts losing himself in the frightening memories of his past. How his father used to treat him in childhood. All those wounds start resurfacing again. On the other side, Eris gathers essential supplies and prepares to leave the house with Lucas. But as soon as she reaches the main door, her steps come to a halt right there. A zombie is standing outside the door, and this was no ordinary zombie. It was Diego. Diego somehow gets inside the house and attacks Lucas directly. To save her son, Eris puts in all her strength, But in this struggle, she herself gets injured. As soon as Francis, locked in the basement, hears Eris and Lucas's screams, he starts breaking the door with all his strength. After a lot of effort, he somehow manages to get out. As soon as he reaches upstairs, a terrifying scene is in front of him. Diego, now turned zombie, is attacking his family. Without wasting a single moment, Francis attacks him, and after a fierce struggle, finishes him off with a knife. But then Francis's eyes fall on Lucas. There are deep teeth marks on his hand. Seeing this, the ground slips from under both Francis and Eris's feet. They knew what a zombie bite meant. Panicking, Francis, with folded hands, begs Eris to save their son. Seeing no other way, Eris, with a heavy heart, makes a painful decision. To stop the infection from spreading, she cuts off Lucas's injured hand and immediately bandages his wound. Lucas's condition keeps worsening continuously. Eris says that if he's to be saved, they need to reach a doctor or some safe camp immediately. Hearing this, Francis remembers the van he'd left behind. Without wasting any time, he runs toward the bridge. But upon reaching there, he comes face to face with Joshua, who had just returned after staying out all night. Seeing Francis covered in blood, Joshua panics. He thinks his father has killed his mother. In anger and fear, without asking anything, he fires a shot. As soon as the bullet hits, Francis falls to the ground. But when Joshua learns the truth, he's stunned. Even in his injured state, Francis tells him to take the van and go home immediately to save his brother. After this, he hugs Joshua for the first time. Perhaps this was the moment when he truly accepted him as his son from the heart. Joshua quickly takes the van and heads toward home, while Eris sits far away at the house, holding on to hope. Just then, the sound of a vehicle arriving is heard outside, and here the story ends with a mysterious ending. Friends, a lot of effort goes into making a video. If you like this video, please be sure to like it and subscribe to the channel to support us. Your one like and subscribe gives us the courage to keep making such great videos. See you in the next video. Until then, take care of yourself. Bye.